Hello, and welcome to another otome horror game. This is one of my all-time favorites. It is called Absolution with the Lost by Navy Pink. I do want to um, go over some trigger warnings real quick before we get too far into it, just in case, because this does deal with some potentially triggering subject content, and I want to make anyone who is watching aware of that beforehand. Okay. Doesn't look like they have anything on their page. I think that they do have a warning though once we click in. Let me go ahead and read the blurb for the game. You are Miss Hart, a young psychologist determined to work in a mental hospital. Your lifelong dream is to help people in need, and this is where they await you. Your new job is not is not as easy as one might think. You will be faced with many challenges. Nothing is handed to you. Your patients trust will to cooperate, to even talk to you. Everything depends on your ability to understand them and communicate with them. There will be times when you find yourself lost and confused. At these times, you have to remember to never lose hope, because the fate of your patients depends solely on your choices. Your patients will only tell you a fraction of what you need to know. You have to figure everything out on your own. Will you know all about them before they reveal it to you, or will you fail and lose their trust? So yeah, I think the premise of this game is really interesting. This is the first game that I've played like this where you get to play as essentially a psychologist in I guess it would be a mental health facility. Anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We are going to do a new game. Okay, here's the content warnings. This game contains mental illness, blood and gore, suicide, murder, self-harm, sadism, masochism, sexual themes, rape, domestic abuse, jump scares, and strong language. So we've got a little bit of a list there. While playing this game, you'll be exposed to content sensitive readers may find disturbing. Are you sure you want to begin? Yes, we are sure. Enjoy the game. Please be aware that the opinions and beliefs expressed in this game do not necessarily reflect those of the developer or of anyone involved in the project. This game is not meant to be an accurate representation of life and work in a mental hospital. Now, that is an important point. This is fiction, and I think that we do need to people need to keep that in mind. This is not a accurate representation of what it would be like to work as a psychologist in a mental hospital. This is purely for entertainment purposes. An effort was made to portray mental illness in an accurate and respectful manner. However, the developer does not guarantee complete accuracy to diagnosing criteria of every illness portrayed due to individual differences between patients. Please support mental health care and spread awareness. Okay, so choose the level of difficulty that matches your ability to reach the best outcome. These meters will show the values that your outcome will depend on level of closeness with patients, your traits, etc. They update them automatically and are only shown when relevant. And then we've got tutorials for the game mechanics that give hints on how to approach situations. We're gonna keep these on because I mean it's been several years since I last played this, but I do remember dying quite a few times. So let's keep these on for now. A mental hospital. You never cease to surprise me. I wonder what this new path will lead you to. Happiness? Fulfillment? This is what you seek, isn't it? Or maybe to death and suffering. The choice is yours. See you soon. Okay, it's October 31st of 2010. As you can see, 2010, this game is a little old, but it's amazing, trust me. Entering the hospital, I find myself in the reception area. I glance around the room only to see a pair of green eyes looking back at me. It seems she's been waiting for me to notice her. I approach her desk slowly. Hang on, I want to make sure. Let me turn the volume down just a little bit. Okay. Good morning. She doesn't seem to be too friendly. Not like I'm not used to it. What brings you here, miss? And this is us. As you can see, MC is so cute. I'm suddenly at a loss of words. I'm finally here. I really need to focus. Excuse me, miss. If you have no business here, please leave. I'm sorry, I didn't... Okay, so I guess this is our empathy meter. I applied for a job here. I need to check that before I let you in. Right, nothing out of the ordinary. Your first name. Okay, we're gonna go with the same name we used in the playthrough for 1016, which is Nicole. Okay then. Let me see. Oh, right. Nicole Hart, correct? The psychologist? We were looking for one since the position became available recently. Anyway, I hope you're qualified. We can't hire just anyone here. I'm sure you know why. I understand. Give me a moment. The nurse takes out a cell phone and calls someone. Are you busy? That's good. Listen, I need you to guide someone to Dr. Sharp's office. Thanks. She looks at me again. Aren't you a bit young? Tutorial Part 1, Choices. The outcome of the story will depend on the choices you make throughout the game. Choices are always presented using a list of options in menus. They may have different consequences. Some choices are inconsequential, though. It's up to you to judge the possible outcomes of a choice. If a quick message flashes before the choice, it signals a QuickTime event, and the choice must be picked immediately once it appears. Some choices are highlighted in various colors. The color of these highlighted options has no meaning, but color choices are associated with actions to distinguish them from conversational choices if they appear within the same menu. Okay. Hang on, I'm gonna adjust this screen because it looks like it is a little for the video because it looks like it's a little off. Give me one sec here, guys. Okay, I think that looks good. Okay, well, I'm not gonna be defensive. We're not gonna say I'm not that young. I'm not gonna say is that a problem because that's confrontational. We'll just say I have all the necessary experience. I started digging around my bag to find something to convince her. I can save that for your job interview. Okay, so we haven't even got the interview. Another moment of awkward silence passes before a door flies open, revealing a different nurse. Well, good luck. What does it mean if it's... Oh yeah, because green is an action. Let's say thanks. Let's be nice. Thank you. Right. See you around, Nicole. Hello. Your choices can affect your relationships with characters you meet. Generally speaking, acting in a friendly manner towards your coworkers is always a good idea. You may earn different benefits and see additional side plots depending on your relationships with side characters. Julia, you know, from the reception, she asked me to lead you to an interview. But I have some spare time, so if you want, I can show you around as well. It's easy to get lost here at first. We can do a full tour or a quick tour, or let's hurry. Well, we're not going to be rude because we are going to be clearly working with her once we get the job. So let's save. And then we'll try the full tour unless it ends up making us late for the interview. Then we'll go back and we'll do the quick tour. I'd like a full tour if that's fine. Really? That's great. Follow me. The cafeteria. Patients eat here, so it gets pretty crowded at times. How many patients eat here? Currently, I think we have around 30 patients. Not all of them are allowed to eat here with the rest, though. Why is that? For the others' safety and their own. The nurse opens a locked door and we enter a staircase. Careful, it's a bit narrow. We'll say thanks for the warning. Look at us, we already have our empathy up to 3. Oh, no problem. I'm just doing my job. And you're doing well. We enter a long hallway. Well, here it is, the second floor. As you can see, this is where patients' rooms are located. This is also where you will work, given that you're hired, of course. Yeah, thanks for throwing that in there. Okay, how many patients live in one room? How much time do patients spend outside of their rooms? Or when do you lock the rooms? Maybe let's not ask number 3 and make it sound like it's a prison. Let's ask how much time do patients... I don't know, because these both sound like we want to keep the patients locked up, which isn't what I'm going for. We'll ask how much time they spend outside of their rooms. Most of the day, really. Except for some difficult patients, they see psychologists and psychiatrists every day. We organize group activities quite often, which are optional. Patients can go everywhere on the first and second floor, as long as they're watched over by someone. So we really aren't keeping them locked in here. We walk quietly through the hallway between patient rooms. No matter how I look at it, I feel uncomfortable here. Like I'm trapped. I don't like this part of the building at all. Suddenly, the nurse stops near the end of the hallway. Behind this wall is the nurse's office. We usually spend breaks here. Honestly, we don't have many of them. We're more busy than you'd think. Oh, and from there you can get to room 21, the isolated one. Okay, we can say, what do you like to do on break? Is it empty now? Or how are nurses treated here? I'm curious to ask, is it empty now? But I feel like that's a little too on the nose. We don't even have the job yet, so we shouldn't really be scoping out, the perimeter. And I still feel like that's sort of a little, a little intrusive without us officially being hired yet. Let's ask what she likes to do on break. She seemed surprised that I asked about her. Me? I try to avoid this room. I prefer to walk around the building to make sure everything is fine, talk to people, I often spend breaks with Julia, if she's free as well. We're good friends. We move to a spacious room connecting 2 hallways and the nurse's office. This is the central hall. It's one of the few parts of the original building that was never changed since the 19th century. To be honest, it's good to have an open space between all these narrow corridors. You can never see the 3rd floor from here. You can even see the 3rd floor from here. If you get chosen for the night shift, that's where you'll stay. We won't go there today, though. Any questions? I guess not. We're nearly there, too, so let's go. Another narrow hallway. This one is slightly more comfortable for me. This is where our psychiatrists and psychologists have their offices. So, this is it. My job interview will begin soon. I was so caught up in the tour I nearly forgot about it until now. I wonder which of these doors we'll have to enter. Are you nervous about the interview? That's really rude. We're not going to say let's just get it over with. Let's ask for a little bit of advice. We spent all this time, sort of befriending her a little bit. Let's see if she has any advice. I mean, Dr. Sharp can be a bit harsh at first, but it's only for the good of the patients. Just stay professional, speak only when asked to, and you should be fine. Alright then, thanks. I'll wait for you outside so we can talk once you're done. The nurse knocks on one of the doors and looks at me with an encouraging smile. Good luck. Come in. Oh wow. Okay, the fact that it's asking us if we want to save our game um is a little concerning. Because that normally means we're about to go through a volley of questions where there's a high chance of us failing and potentially meeting an untimely death or some other unfortunate consequence. I enter the office slowly. The man sitting behind the desk must be Dr. Sharp, the psychiatrist. I expected him to be older. Once I enter the office, he looks up from the documents on his desk. Nicole Hart. That's right, You're here for the job interview. I nod, realizing I should say as little as possible. Take a seat, please. I sit down in a chair on the other side of the desk. He doesn't seem to be in a hurry. You applied for a job here as a psychologist, correct? I did. He pauses and looks at me briefly. Someone of your age might not be suited to work here. A fragile young mind such as yours is likely to be unprepared for what you may encounter here. Oh, look, we have points here. Um. Oh. I think if we stay silent, that sort of makes us seem maybe a little too complacent, given the fact that he's already telling us that, we don't have the experience. So I think we'll advocate for ourselves and say, I am prepared. We will see about that, Miss Hart. He's silent, watching me. I look around the office. It looks nice, but it has a slightly ominous feeling to it. The curtains are nearly closed, which makes it quite dark and stuffy. His presence itself, the situation I'm in, and the atmosphere of the room is enough to make me slightly nervous. I realize that he's probably doing it on purpose, so I do my best to remain composed. His silence is deliberate. It's obviously a test of my patience. He's looking at me again, but this time he seems more analytical. I want to be assertive about it and say something, but I'm not sure what is expected from me. No, we're going to look him straight in the eye. Or, I mean, I guess we could just stay still. Ugh. I don't know. I do not know how to play my cards here. Let's look him straight in the eye. I look back at him without hesitation. I will not be toyed with. I came here for an interview, not a therapy session. His smile is far from genuine. My apologies, it must be a habit of mine. The way he looks at me is different now, like my resistance made him give up. I don't care if this is what he expected or not. I won't hesitate to remind him that I don't like people acting like they have power over me. So we got 1 point from that answer. The nurse that led you here. She wasn't much trouble, was she? I'm not gonna say I'm glad she's gone now. That's clearly not the right answer. I don't know if we should be too enthusiastic though, because we don't want it to seem like we're just here trying to make friends, And in situations like this, sometimes you do have to maintain a certain level of professional distance. Because my knee-jerk reaction is to say that she's great, but let's try saying she did her job as she was supposed to. Okay. Oh wow, we got a lot of points for that. She is waiting for you outside this door, correct? You managed to create a bond with your future coworker in a matter of minutes. Oh, that's why we got all those points. It should not be overlooked when judging your abilities. You had a chance to walk through the hospital on your way here. What did you think of it? What has this got to do with anything? I haven't been here for long enough to really make up my mind, but so far... Let's save. Well, it does feel odd, but I don't, like I said, I don't think that's the way to go. Mm. At the same time, I don't think he would appreciate us pandering to him. Um, I see you have a practical mind. Good. Wow, that was the answer. Your new job will require your complete focus. I wonder what else he can ask me. Due to the sensitive nature of your work, I feel obliged to ask. Have you ever suffered from a mental illness? Let's go with a long time ago. Because that would infer that we do have personal experience, which could lend us a deeper understanding of the content, but that it's not going to currently be an issue. I suppose it is difficult to avoid at some point. Wait, is that supposed to mean I shift a bit in my seat in preparation for his next question? What do you value the most in this job? Finally, something I can actually answer honestly. Being able to help people, yeah. The pay is definitely not the right answer, neither is the workplace. I mean, this is not exactly, Disneyland. Help people. I suppose that is one way of looking at it. He looks away from me absently for a moment. Is that it? Today is the 31st of October. I heard some nurses are having a party for the occasion. Do you have plans? What sort of interview question is this? I mean, I've had some pretty weird interviews, don't get me wrong, like some really weird interviews. Um, but you would think given the fact that she's interviewing for a mental health as a mental health professional that it would be geared towards maybe that sort of stuff a little more. Uh, we're gonna say he seems to like practical, like pragmatic. So we'll do I don't celebrate. Of course, I wasn't asking out of curiosity. However, you chose to spend the evening. However you choose to spend the evening, make sure to never let it interfere with your work. I understand. Well then, Miss Hart, you definitely have what it takes in terms of personality. The nurse who led you here confirmed that. You are expected here tomorrow at 7 a.m. We got the job! We'll say thank you. There's nothing you need to thank me for. It has been a pleasure. I will await you tomorrow in your new office, Miss Hart. I nod. I leave the office and shut the door behind me, letting out a breath I had no idea I was holding. It feels like a different world outside of that room. Okay, the journal. Over the course of the game, you will learn a lot about different people and locations. To make it easier to progress, a journal menu is included. It lists all characters and areas you've seen, along with any relevant information. You'll be notified at the top of your screen when a new journal entry is added. Once you start meeting patients, you will gain access to your notes in the character information menu, so check it often by clicking Journal in the Quick or Pause menu. I'm glad to have that behind me. At least I was finally hired. I think I did well. He seemed to be satisfied with how I handled myself. Still, there was something unsettling about that man and the way he asked me questions I wasn't prepared for. The nurse from before is standing by the wall, waiting for me as she said. When she sees me emerging from the office, she approaches me with a smile. I got the job. I'm starting tomorrow. Congrats. How was it? Oh, jeez. How do we answer this? Um, it was great. I'm glad to hear it. Either you caught him on a good day or you have some serious skills. You're a psychologist, though, so I'm betting for the second one. Either way, don't get discouraged by his attitude. He really cares a lot about the patients and the staff, he just doesn't show it much. By the way, thank you. For what? I think you helped convince him that I have what it takes. Really? I'm glad to have helped then. We walk back to the central hall. I think I'm starting to get used to the hospital's layout. I'll need to memorize it eventually. Hey, mind if we stop here for a moment? Not at all. I'll have to go to the nurse's office soon to get some work done, but it's been a real treat showing you around. It's always nice to see new faces here, especially friendly ones. Likewise. I never got to ask your name. It's Nicole. I'm Sue. Nice to meet you, Nicole. Oh, she's so cute. I feel a bond forming between me and Sue. Have we made a friend here already? Well, if you need anything, I'm sure I can spare some time tomorrow. Look for me here on your break if you want to talk. Sounds good. Thanks for the tour and everything, Sue. No problem. See you tomorrow. Sue disappears in the nurse's office. I'm glad to have made her acquaintance today. It'll be good to have someone I know from the start in the hospital. If I need anything from Sue, I can look for her in the central hall on my break. Walking back the way I came, I have to pass through the patient's room's hallway. It has an eerie feel to it. I'm not afraid of the patients, and tight spaces never really unsettled me. And yet I want to get through this hall as fast as possible. Conveniently, though, the door by the staircase opens on its own from the inside. I'll have to get some keys tomorrow. Passing through the reception once again, I catch the eye of the nurse named Julia. I smile at her before leaving. I'm too happy to care. I'll meet my patients tomorrow. I'm so excited for my first day of work. I wonder what kind of people my patients will be. Walking back home, I turn around to take a look at my new workplace. It looks so serious. I'm really working at a hospital, finally. After so much work to get here, I'll have therapy with people who really need my help. I can't help but feel at peace. Soon I'll be able to do what I've always wanted to do. I barely keep myself from bouncing while walking back home. Yeah. Let's save. Okay, November 1st, our first day of work. Empathy. You are liked. And we also have a sanity bar. Yeah, so that's the thing. We can lose our sanity depending upon how we respond and the situations we end up getting ourselves into. My alarm clock woke me up. It's 7 a.m. I should be getting up. Yesterday I got the job. It's my first day at work. I'll meet my patients in just a few hours. I need to hurry up. Stay calm, I tell my enthusiastic face on the other side of the mirror while brushing my hair. I'm more than ready for today. Thankfully, my new house isn't far from the hospital, so once I'm ready, I decide to walk. The weather today is surprisingly nice for November. After 20 minutes, I find myself by the entrance. I push the front door open confidently and feel the familiar thrill of being inside the hospital again. After confirming my identity to a nurse I didn't recognize, I was handed a pair of keys and told to go to my new office. I pass the now empty cafeteria and a staircase to get to the second floor. I make my way through the patient's room's hallway. Going deeper into the hospital, I pass through the central hall to enter the office hallway. One of the offices was already labeled. Office 3, Nicole Hart, psychologist. Oh my gosh, this is our office. It's so dark. I open the door and I'm instantly overwhelmed. The inside of my office resembles Dr. Sharp slightly, but the color scheme is completely different. Immediately, I decide to open up the thick curtains to let more sunlight into the room. There is nothing more depressing than a dark room, especially on a sunny day like this. That is much better. Okay. From the window in my office, which has bars on it, for safety reasons, I assume. That's a little concerning. I can sense a bit of the nearby town where I'm staying. I can see a bit of the nearby town where I'm staying, but mostly the forest surrounding the hospital. I'm one floor above the ground. A fall from here probably wouldn't be deadly, thankfully. So how do you like your new office, Miss Hart? Startled a bit by Dr. Shep's voice and the sound of the door being closed, I turn around to face my boss. It's spacious. Still slightly overwhelmed by the room, I'm at a loss for words, so I figure it's better to say the first thing that comes to mind. I will take this as a sign of enthusiasm for the job. I have already assigned patients to you yesterday. Since you are new here and obviously lack experience, you will have fewer of them than the others at first. Here are the files. I expect you to read them beforehand. He hands me a few documents after looking through them briefly, and I place them carefully on my desk. Richards, Moore, Burnett, unknown. It shouldn't be difficult for you to interact with all four of them frequently enough to progress their therapy. You can choose who you meet with and how long your sessions will last. Your schedule break is from 12 to 12:30 every day. Do you have any further questions? So I think we are gonna go ahead and pause things here. In case I didn't make this clear, in the previous, or at the beginning of the game, the potential allies are her actual patients. For anyone where that may be a problem, which is completely understandable. But I did want to just put that out there. So we will be meeting them next episode, and I think that you can also pursue something with Dr. Sharp, but I've never done that before. So let's go ahead and save here, and yeah, next time we pick up, we'll meet the patients and figure out who exactly we're going to be getting to know a little better. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you next time.